This week in Hey the Parents, we're talking about the dreaded school lunch. Let's break out the lunch calendar. Who's having Taco Tuesday? Who's having Pizza Friday? Wait, when did they start offering birthday cake pancakes? And why is the money in your school account running low? Let's get those lunch bags packed, snack bags labeled, ice packs in the freezer, and don't forget to cut your kids' fruit up before work, because this week it's all about the school lunch. On this episode, we're talking about school lunches, bringing lunch, buying lunch, snacks, and everything in between. And of course, we talk about when we were younger, mishaps with our own kids, and what the supposed experts say. Don't forget to fill your water bottles up, because it's a three of us and all of you. I'm Michael Heit.
I'm Sara D.
And I'm Mike Levine.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you. There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, it's us again.
What's
Welcome
up?
back.
What's going on?
Happy evening, friendos. Happy
hello there.
Sunday night. It's good to see you. Good to see you both.
Yes, ditto.
So here we
Oh,
are.
yeah. Greetings.
Here we are. We're doing it. We're making it live, making it happen. So, so this week we are going to be speaking about the wonderful land of packing lunch, school lunches, snacks, all that dreaded stuff. We're all looking at each other like,
When
good
you
Lord.
say
Because it is
wonderful.
Sunday night, and we know what that
I
means.
know. The wonderful land is what took me out right
It's
now.
the dreaded land.
I know. It's like almost like when someone says, like, tell me the bad news or the good news first, and then like they start telling you the bad news, and you're like, maybe you could just say that in like a really positive way. Maybe it won't sound as
Can
bad.
you sugarcoat that?
Can you sugarcoat the bad
Aw.
news?
But-
So before we get into the bad news of packing lunch, I was going to tell you guys, this weekend we just finished up with the grand triumphant finish of my son finished up doing the play at his school. He's a middle school kid, and he wasn't in the play. He did the backstage stuff. And initially we were like, wait, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to do the backstage stuff. I'm like, what do you mean the backstage stuff? He's like, are you making the sets? He's like, no, it's kind of like we're organizing, we're pushing carts around, and we're pushing the pieces around. And like at first I was like, man, you're gonna be really busy. You sure you want to do that? And he gave us like a little pushback. He's like, no, I want to do it. I'm like, all right, you can do it. So it ended up being a really cool experience. They did the Wizard of Oz. And they did like, I guess this is probably pretty common for middle schools. They did like a Friday night performance, a Saturday, AM or whatever, like lunchtime, and then evening performance. They did a Sunday performance. So, Rachel went with Ethan to see Jacob on the first night.
Aww.
And then, we went, today, all of us went today, and it was really cool. And it was fun to see Jacob and some of his friends obviously were on it too, but we saw Jacob when the lights went down, we saw him like run out and like push the stuff around.
Yeah,
Noah was
yeah.
like, "Is that
I
Jacob?
love
Is that
it."
Jacob?" And I'm like, "No, that's definitely him. Like I recognize
Were
him."
they
you know?
all wearing black? Like all black?
They were.
Like
They
professionals?
were.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing.
Oh man.
That's
It was
really
great. It was
cool.
great. And then like the Wicked Witch was great. Our neighbor, our friend, Jacob's friend Amalia, she was the mayor of Munchkinland, which was like, that's like, it's a pretty big deal being the mayor of Munchkinland,
Oh, yeah.
And the whole scene after like, the one of the witch eats it from the house.
Yes.
And then she comes out and like welcomes everyone. And it is, it's really funny to see it, after you have kids and like having a young kid with you, because you're trying to like explain what's happening, and you're like, well, I'm not going to get into this too much because yes, there's feet poking out of this house, but don't worry too much about that.
And the sister may or may not be happy that the sister is under the house. So we won't talk about that either. Familial ties.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is because now that the movie, the movie Wicked is going to be coming out based on the show. We're actually going to go see we're bringing the kids to go see the older two. We're going to bring them to see Wicked on Broadway.
Awesome.
As part of a holiday gift that we got them the idea of giving them a gift, and now we have to follow through on it.
Yes.
So we're going to go take them to see Wicked, and I saw it years ago. And I remember, remember two things. One, absolutely loving it because it was such a cool twist on the show. And I think what I loved about it so much were all the little like double meaning, little nuanced lyrics that they had where kind of like they allude to like, you know, all of the fame that like the characters would have for being, you know, for being evil, or like, you know, how the characters ended up becoming the different characters that we know from the movie.
Right.
I'm trying not to spoil it, so I'm saying like basically nothing, but I'm looking forward to bringing them.
Yeah.
It's such a good
That's
show. It's really
amazing.
cool. I saw it years ago when when they had the original cast. I was lucky enough to see it, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna be great no matter what. And then the movie's coming out with I think what's her name? Ariana Grande is going to be in it with a couple other famous peoples. But there's going to be a movie coming out. It's like a part 1, part 2 musical movie thing coming out. So we're gonna be all in on Wizard of Oz this year apparently.
Man, and
but looking forward to
I'm
it.
glad Jacob
That's really
got to have that
awesome.
experience. I'm sure he loved it, man. I mean, it's so cool. Lights go out and everybody runs out. And
Yes.
gotta move the
Stage
stage.
hands
What's
are
funny?
important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what's funny? At one point, you could see like they were about to book it out onto the set, and then they were like, "Well, the light wasn't out yet," so they kind of did this like kind of like Frozen thing.
I
and
love
then they were
it.
Like, then the lights went out, then they went, whoosh,
I
go.
love it.
But it was cool. It was cool.
Man,
I'm
those
proud of him for
transitions,
doing it.
those transitions are super important, right? Like, you know, you got to get there
Right?
nice and smooth. The stage hands got to get there quietly. Oh, that's really awesome.
like a whole thing.
I'm so proud of him.
So,
That's so cool.
you know what? Kids, why am I saying kids? Parents, I guess there's something to be said about like letting your kids push back a little bit and say what they want to do. Because if it was up to me initially, I was kind of be like, you know, you're really busy. Those kids get super busy with the whole schedules, and then their grades are questionable. And I get nervous with him overextending himself. But you know what? He said he really wanted to do it, and he showed us that he was mostly responsible, and he pushed through. He looked very exhausted this past week because I had like practice every night. But you know what? I'm proud of him. He stuck with it. But speaking of sticking with it, do you know who else has to stick with it? The parents. Because when it comes to lunches this week, we have to stick with our plans of feeding those children because they have to eat 3. What is with that? Eat multiple meals a day, every day.
Does anybody else hate feeding their children?
What are you saying? It's so rewarding.
It's just, I don't know.
I love making meals so he hardly eats. So
Yeah.
fun.
It's just a nightmare for me. I don't know if it's a nightmare for you or any of our other parents out there, but yeah, I hate it.
You know, it's funny because
I
this
hate
is
it.
not an episode on cooking, but I will say that like because we are talking about food, we have some parents at Taekwondo that we bump into a lot. And they say like, "Oh, what's for dinner tonight?" I always say like, "Disappointment." That's what it is. Serve disappointment, because it's always like one. How many out of the 5 people are upset or crying? There's always tears at the table. One person. But
Always.
the good news is that speaking of tears, maybe those tears are not happening at the table. Maybe they're happening when they open their lunch. But the good news is we're not going to take a start with that. We're going to jump right back into time for the time before time when we were younger, because we can't get to now without understanding where it all came from, because we're going to bust out those thermoses. We're going to take out those He-Man, lunch boxes, and we're going to take those Sips juice boxes. And why we were drinking iced tea at that age, I have no idea.
Who knows?
But we're going to take a
energy.
moment to think back in time. A little energy before the
Little
old
Snapple
before
action.
class, right? Oh man. I'll tell you what though. So for I don't know. It's very funny because I thought what we would do is we break this down a little bit into maybe like obviously the main part of our show is talking about when we're older, but we love when we're younger. We love talking about this stuff. But I thought we'd break it down into like kind of like the elementary school ish / and then go to like middle school, high school, and then kind of go from there, because I feel like there was definitely a big difference from those standpoints to where we were. But do you guys remember, first and foremost, do you remember your first lunchbox? Like, I was trying to think back, and I was having a hard time. You do?
I
What
do.
you remember?
Mine was a yellow Cabbage Patch lunchbox with the matching thermos with that straw that's attached to it.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love that. Like, if anyone from like the late 80s, 90s, remember that? It had like such this,
Like the tin.
like a smell. There was like this like.
Were they hard ones? Were they all tin can? Like, were they all like hard?
No, my lunchbox was plastic. It was plastic.
It was plastic. So the
It was a-
collector's old ones are tin, right?
I think
but
so.
they were plastic, right?
Mine was a
Okay.
little tricky to open up.
like,
The
snap thing to open,
thermos
it was
was
hard,
like
right?
really round and big and like, and it was like matching. I could literally see it in my head right now. Like, and the smell from the thermos.
Oh yeah.
Like the straw was pretty monumental, right? It was like a rectangular type.
Yeah,
tray,
and you like
it was,
lifted it up. Yeah, it was
Right.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
No,
and that would take up like a solid, like at least 30 to 40% of the lunchbox.
Yes,
right?
it sure
Like,
did.
It was a big part of
Yep,
it.
it had its own little special place in the lunchbox. Like it clicked in and clicked out of. And then like,
Oh, I don't remember the clicking part.
Like it didn't like click, but there was like a spot like meant like
Like it sort of fit.
with the grooves. Yeah, they're like meant just for that area.
Oh, man. And then, so it's funny because I was thinking back and I really don't remember exactly like, a couple years ago, but I don't remember I remember that part of it, obviously. I remember the sandwich. And I just remember like not being a whole lot of room left in the lunchbox for much else, right? Like, I guess like whatever your mom or dad would squish in a pop of your sandwich and make it really mushy and nasty. But they would always be like, but it wasn't like today, because I feel like today now, like the kids bring like water bottles separately. But like this was like, but forget today, because we're talking about yesterday. We're talking about the lunchboxes from then. I remember distinctly that the thermoses that you would take the top off.
Yep.
And no one really did this, but you could. The top became like a little teacup,
cup,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
became a cup.
Yeah.
And you could be like, blah, 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 and it'd like pick up your little...
With a little like pinky in the air because you were very fancy.
Right?
You're
Like,
a fancy young person.
I don't think I ever did that, because I guess it would be getting messy,
Do you
right?
remember the thermoses used to have glass inside, actually?
No.
Do you remember that?
Really?
That
Yeah,
I do
because
not remember.
it's broken on me before when I was younger. So like in like the heating
wow.
Between your thermometers and your glass?
yeah, no, like there was
You
like a
had to take
heating
glass.
component like where you had food.
Really?
And then like it didn't like open like where you could see it. It didn't mess with your food, but like if you shook it, you're like, up, the glass broke again, and I'd be like, Ma, the glass broke.
Oh, and you hear that?
Yeah,
the
like
shaking
the
inside?
shards just rolling around or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, and your lunch was cold.
Seems
and sad.
seems like the 80s and 90s are a wild time.
It was a wild time. Like, who put glass in a kid's meal? Like, sheesh.
Yeah, thinking about that. Now, what about like what were some of the greatest hits of like what would you bring? Do you remember like when you were like elementary school? Like I remember you spent some time in some other episodes talking about like how you brought like some cultural things that were like kind of embarrassing at times for you. Did you?
Oh yeah.
Was that pretty much the case for elementary school, or
was
was that like?
Yeah, that was like kindergarten to high school.
That was all the way through.
That was all the way through. I didn't eat like
Sarah was having like lettuce wraps before they were cool.
yeah, no, I didn't eat like American lunches. Like I didn't eat like the lunch served at school. I would like I really like tuna fish sandwich that the nun from my school used to make every once in a while for me, and PB&Js were like.
Wait a minute. You had sympathy tuna fish?
I did. Well, okay. So once in a while,
Sympathy
like
holy tuna fish on Fridays?
So I hated tuna fish salads, sandwiches, or whatever. My brother used to love them. My mom used to make them for him. And then every once in a while, I forget my lunch. My mom didn't drive. My dad maybe was at work or something like that. So my mom would call the school and say, hi, Sarah doesn't have her lunch. And for some reason, Sister Teresita would like intercept these phone calls sometimes. And she's like, I will make her lunch. And and I had a special relationship with her. I loved her. And she would be like, Sarah, I have your lunch. Your mom dropped it off. Because she wouldn't want to embarrass me, I guess. And I was like, yes, she made me lunch. I'm like, oh, like her sandwiches were so good. I don't know. Maybe it was more mayo than tuna fish. I don't know. There's something about
so
it.
you were okay with it?
Oh, I was cool with it. Like, but like,
Oh, so when she made it, it was all right.
yeah, when she made it, it was all right. And like, I actually appreciated the fact that she
Aw.
tried to pretend that she was making it, that she picked it up from the main office, and like
awesome.
not embarrass me. Meanwhile, I was like, girl, you could have said that it was from you. I love you, man. Like, I love Sister Teresita.
I love the idea of like the little girl you was like, girl, you could okay with that. So I had like a what if I had a wheat allergy when I was younger?
Really?
So my mom would make like she would go to like this like crazy health food store and get like this wacky bread that was not like now where you could get like, whatever bread doesn't have certain ingredients in it, but it was nasty. So she would get, so they had rice cakes back then too. So I remember I'd bring peanut butter and jelly and rice cakes, and they're like, it was like chewing on sawdust. They were so like crunchy and crackly.
Oh yeah.
But after a while, like I kind of got over it. And then, we had like such a weird variety of things. Like it would range from like, cause I love roast beef. You would get like roast beef would be like thing from there for like, my mom had this weird habit of like, oh, there's leftover meatloaf. That sounds like a delicious sandwich for elementary kids. Why?
Yeah.
So also like
Meatloaf
meatloaf sandwich, meatloaf with like ketchup Maybe think of you, Lamine.
Oh,
and it would just
God,
like be like ketchup would be like, would take over the bread because the bread was like dry at one point, but not by the time it got to lunch.
That sounds amazing.
Then she would also, it's delicious.
Yeah,
No.
like soggy.
I'm sure it was delicious when it started.
I like it was soggy and stuff. Okay.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let me
No. You're bringing back such negative memories for me.
Oh no, I like that. Okay.
But there were crazy things too.
Maybe that's why I thought like other kids were eating it for lunch with soggy bread.
Oh, that's so amazing.
No.
Like Sarah's like, I could picture the delicious sauce.
No, my
mushy bread.
lunch was like soaked with soggy ketchup sandwiches that my
Oh yes,
babysitter
I
made.
remember.
And I'm like, I'm listening to your positive experience about sister, whatever her name was, and making you these beautiful tuna sandwiches. I'm like, my babysitter made me these ketchup ham and cheese sandwiches, and I tried to trade it, and guess what? Nobody wanted to trade with me.
No one's
Nobody.
interested. Jeez, Louise.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe if you and Sarah were in the same school,
they
you
were
could have
like-
like passed
I
it around,
know.
you know?
They were soaked in like this blood. It looked like blood that they were soaked in.
No,
Oh, man.
It was like, no.
If you guys listen, I just want to take a special moment for our listeners. If you're still listening, you're part of the golden crew that held on past that nasty part of the podcast.
Aren't you
So pat
lucky?
yourself in the back, listener, because
yeah.
you kept going.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, my mom did this thing too, where she would take peanut butter and jelly, and for some reason in her mind, I still don't understand it, but she'd make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. She'd have like bread that she'd take out of the freezer. The bread's still frozen. Make the peanut butter and jelly sandwich on a frozen bread. Put the sandwich back in the freezer. Then, like when it was time for lunch, she would take the frozen peanut butter and jelly that was wrapped now. Chuck that in your lunch bag, and I guess maybe because we didn't have ice in our lunch bag, and then by the time it got to lunch, it was like defrosted but still kind of cold, and that was kind of like how we rolled. I don't do
Like
Oh,
that anymore.
Uncrustables, like the original Uncrustables.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Oh man, my mom was the original Uncrustable.
Your mom was a trendsetter right there.
Respect.
Thanks, Mama
Good job,
Heit.
Mom.
That was good.
Yeah, after all that, look at me dogging you, and all of a sudden turns out that I'm wrong.
See, what was
man.
what was your perfect lunch? Like when I opened up my lunchbox, it was, like the old Batman lunchbox. I remember it was like that blue plasticky
yes.
one that I guess like everybody had. It was like a cookie cutter lunchbox.
You'd be looking for
I
your
think
lunch
my
money.
brother had that. Yeah.
I know. And then I'd open it up and I'd have the sandwich. The sandwich was always there. Hopefully it wasn't a ketchup sandwich. Maybe it was a tuna sandwich or like a egg sandwich or something like that, like a egg salad. And then the next thing I would look for was the snack, because the snack was like, okay, if it's a bad snack, I could trade this. I got currency here. Like I could trade this out for chips. I could trade it out for cookies, something.
Sarah and I had no currency. Listen, we had like a default on our bank loan. It was not. there was no currency.
And then of course,
listen.
of course, there was the juice pack, right? So you had the sandwich,
Yes.
you had the snack, and then you had the juice pack. So I don't know. To me, that was always the perfect lunch when I did bring lunch.
I was kind of like an ecto cooler kind of guy. Like once that started
Yeah,
happening,
that
I think
was
I
cool.
pushed the ecto cooler for way too long. But I will say there were like occasional times where like I don't know. I think, did you guys remember, this is so random, do you remember when you were younger, like, I don't know if your parents had this, where this is a thing, like if you had a hard-boiled egg, you put the egg in the, like, little contraption, and then you pull the thing over it, and it slices the egg up into, like, different pieces.
Okay.
With, like, little wire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about?
I've seen that.
Okay, well, that must have been really exciting for me, because I was the only kid, apparently, who thought, like, bringing, like, a sliced-up hard-boiled egg for lunch with a little salt and pepper on it was kind of nice.
Okay, so you both brought eggs to school. Okay, because you had an egg salad and you had hard-boiled eggs. That's really cool.
Yeah, but it wasn't really
Who knew you were
smelly.
hanging with two
Smelly.
cool dudes,
My egg
huh?
salad
It's
isn't
so
really
far.
smelly,
It was like a big old
because
fart
it's like
sandwich. No?
it's like soaked. Well, no,
Yeah.
it's just like soaked in mayo, so like it masks the smell, right?
I don't know.
I didn't have egg salad until I think until I started really working at where we work now. Like I didn't like into like my young adulthood, because I was like, what
And
is
now you're like, wait,
egg
you can
salad?
put mayonnaise with this? This is nice.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's
I
delicious.
remember there was this girl who would sit next to me, and she would always bring an egg salad sandwich, and she never changed it. And that's the other thing about school lunches.
Oh, wow.
Like kids have like what they eat.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they like,
Yeah.
right? They don't change it out for
The
anything.
go-to.
It's always every day the same lunch. Like I don't know how they could do that. I need variety.
Well,
You need to switch it up. You know?
Variety is a spice of life.
Yes, when you're a child.
No.
Listen, some kids like. So the reason why I didn't like tuna fish salad sandwiches was because there was a girl next to me that always ate tuna fish, and then bless a little heart. And you know, like when you're just a messy little eater, it was just like everywhere. And I remember
tuna on the face, on the nose,
yeah,
and the hair.
yes.
Hey,
Oh
if you're gonna
God,
get food
yeah.
everywhere, let's be selective
And
here.
I literally couldn't, like, I hated sitting next to her because we had like assigned seating, and that's why I just couldn't eat tuna fish salad.
Oh, look at that.
I was traumatized. It took some time. Once I was able to choose my
Wow,
own
so it
seat,
was
we were good to go.
You were impacted by the people around you.
Yeah, I was like eating habits
She
and
was
things like
tuna
that.
collateral damage. That's what it was.
Yes,
Oh, man.
she
All right.
was.
So besides the deep-seated therapy that we're gonna need from our parents, what about buying lunch? Did you guys? So I remember like for me, because we rarely didn't have whipped cream too often in the house.
Yeah.
Like that was like a rare occasion. So whenever you buy lunch, I was so excited because you could get like the chocolate pudding or the red Jello, and it had the whipped cream on it. And I remember specifically, like I would like look, and I want to take the one that had the most whipped cream.
Yeah,
Yes, I hear you.
And I was like, you know.
No, I would buy lunch all the time. Like, you know, my mom didn't have time all the time to pack me lunch, so she would give me like $2. And if I was hungry, I would buy lunch, or I would save it. If you remember,
Yeah, I would say that you save up for the Star Wars,
save
right?
it for my Star Wars
Did
action
I just say the
figures.
Star Wars?
Love it.
Yo, by the way, quick shout out. Hey, Dave, you there? No, okay, I have to do that. So check this out. So Mariko and Dave and their daughter Holly, they're friends of the show. This relates, I promise. They were driving and they were going somewhere, and Dave fell asleep in the car, and Mariko and Holly were listening to our podcast, and all of a sudden, like Dave started waking up, and he hears me talking. Like I just happened to be talking. Shocking. I'm talking in the podcast, and he's so confused because he's like, wait, is he on speakerphone? But apparently Dave, they were listening, and Dave knew exactly about the things you were talking about the Micro Machine, Star Wars.
Yes, the battle
guys,
fleet,
whatever.
Star Wars battle fleet.
Yes.
Yeah,
he knew about them, and he knew about the current one. So
Yeah, they're
sorry, as I
awesome.
completely derailed the entire show because of that. Sorry about that.
Well, Dave, I
Thanks, Dave.
appreciate you, and
Yeah, we all appreciate Dave
I'm telling
and
you,
Rico
man,
and Holly.
I saved those $2 every day to buy those action fleets, and they are awesome.
Look at this, perpetuating
Look
stealing
at
from your
that.
parents. Look at you.
I love it.
So
Being savvy
when we
with your
weren't,
money.
Yes.
Yeah, when we weren't pretending to buy lunch, Mike Levine, one of the things that I remember, because I apparently am the weird kid, they used to have roast chicken at school. I used to love it. Apparently, my mom made too much chicken in the house. So why would that make me want to have more roast chicken? I don't know. But they used to sell like every so often you get like, you know, it's like a quarter of a chicken, and it was just like roast, and it was like half the kids were like, I'm not buying that. I'm like, yeah, baby,
You're
it's
like,
roast
more,
chicken
you're like,
time.
more for me.
Wait, did they sell
More
that in
chicken for me,
elementary
baby.
school or in middle school? When?
Elementary school.
Really?
The lunch ladies probably loved me because they're probably like, I was probably the only person all excited walking out.
I remember like
Such a short line that
I
day. don't
remember
know why.
like Meatball Heroes. I remember like
Meatball
maybe
Hero.
a fried chicken leg or something with French fries.
So you were like one step away from a Renaissance festival. No, I like it.
I love it, yeah.
That
That
was
was
fun.
nice,
But
yeah.
do you remember? So obviously, you know, we did the whole thing. We bought our lunch. What about snacks? Now, do you recall the snack situation? Because I remember that there was, without a doubt, the two probably most popular snacks in elementary school were the brown wrapper chocolate chip cookies. They were like, you know, whatever the typical chocolate chip cookies from the cafeteria, or there was the Andy's hot fries. And I remember the blue packaging Andy's hot fries. Those were the jam. Do you guys remember those? Did you have Andy's hot fries?
I had Andy's hot
Cool.
fries. I did.
Good segment. Oh, you remember? Okay, cool.
I mean, I remember them from my 7-Eleven days, but
but you remember
I didn't.
them.
But I didn't buy lunch. That was like a foreign idea. The food looked scary, and compared to
Please sit a while on the couch.
compared to my mom's gourmet, smelly lunches, like I was like looking at people like, ew, you eating that? But Fridays was ice cream day at my school, and like I
Wait,
get
was it pizza day and ice cream day, or just
Yes.
like, what was the deal?
yeah, pizza and ice cream day, and like.
Oh, it was like a birthday party.
I never ate the pizza either because I had one bad experience
it?
and
Okay.
that was it for me. But I always get the ice cream and I
Welcome
get
to the
my.
Repressed Food Podcast.
I know my $1.75 for ice cream. It's like the ones in those little cups with the wooden spoon, and it's like chocolate and vanilla on one side. Those were the best.
Yes.
And that was it. And that was like my excitement for the week.
You know what's funny with those little cups? It was almost like the wooden spoon thing, like the double-sided kayak paddle. The wooden spoon thing was like it like somehow that was very important to the flavor.
Yes,
and the
it
process.
was.
Like if you didn't have that spoon and you were given if you lost or had like a white spoon, like a plastic spoon, it wasn't the same.
Not
like
the
you
same.
needed to have the wooden.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you had to like kind of suck on it and then like splinter in your mouth and then you get hurt and you're like, why did I do that? But then it was so good at the same time.
That was exactly it.
But I don't know, my mom,
plywood and your
yes,
whoever thought that plywood and
little
ice cream would be a
sawdust, no
combination.
big deal. My mom, like for snacks, like she actually used to, for as much as she was like all healthy and whatnot, we did get extra cooler juice or Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo was the best. I love Yoo-hoo. And
Sorry.
and she would get us like the little the fruit snacks. And I think she got them because they said fruit snacks. Like I don't know what it was, but
Oh, look, these have to be
somehow
healthy.
we got lucky with
Sarah, these are very good.
the fake chocolate milk and the fake fruit snacks.
Now with 0.2% fruit juice.
I know it. Now with more fructose syrup, it was
That was more of
delicious.
a like when we got home from school kind of thing. But what about do you remember middle school, high school? Like I remember like in once we got into the secondary stuff, I remember they started having like add-on stuff. Like you could get lunch, you could get like mozzarella cheese sticks as an add-on. You could get, like I remember some kid rolled in and had like breakfast. They started having breakfast in the middle school, and it was like,
oh wow,
kid was rocking some like pancakes and sausages in the morning. It was completely
cool.
out of control.
I know.
It was
When I was when
Okay.
I was in high school, there was like the one thing that everybody loved. It was 3 warm baked cookies for $1. And I don't know if you guys had it in your high school, or
it's a good deal.
they would bake like freshly baked cookies, and I don't know, you can't replicate it. You can't. There's no way. I don't know what the high school did. I mean, I'm sure they were just like cookie cutter cookies out of like the supermarket that they just made, but I don't know. They just made them so fresh and they were so good. We would always get 3 for $1.
Well, the smell is nice.
The smell was there. And then, what was cool about high school is like you could always pick, like everybody got French fries, bagels, things like that. Like you could always pick out all these other
Carbs.
extra carby things on the side.
Very like white or gray colored food, right? It's all
Yeah.
carbs.
I went to grammar school. It was from kindergarten to 8th grade, so it was all like the same meals. So nothing significant happened there. In high school, that's when I learned about the smelly lunches. That my lunch was smelly, and not to bring that back again ever.
Wow, so that was dark times.
It was dark time. Eat my lunch like on the bus real quick because like that was better. I guess thinking of the bus versus the whole hallway. Or
Oh, man.
I chucked it. But usually, and this is really bad children out there, I just starved and I ate like either chips, a bagel, chips.
Or you just waited for the crumbs from their neighbor.
I starved because I don't think my mom, and I still have this problem today too as a grown up. It's like, I don't know. Like every time she cooks, like there's no way the food doesn't smell. It smells delicious to me, but it offends a lot of people. So there's nothing my mom makes, and or even in my current life, that when I make something that it doesn't smell like something. So
Not me, buddy. I'm there next to you.
I
poking in my
know.
head and like, what do you got there?
So-
What do you got there, my friend?
So in high school, I just starved because I just wanted to fit in, man. I just wanted a good old sandwich that didn't smell and stuff like that. You know
what's funny? Because like I'm thinking like now obviously food, everything's becoming more like widespread and trying different things
Yes.
and just kids and being used to
Now it's
all
cool.
kinds of food. But could you imagine like even more of an extreme? Like you imagine like if you grew up like Korean and having like kimchi, like that is like some of those things have such an aroma to them.
Oh,
like
man.
I couldn't imagine the torture that those poor kids would have gone through, like to bring stuff that has such a distinct smell that, God, it's just like, people, unless you're bringing bologna and peanut butter and jelly, I guess it's just the world. You know what? It makes you stronger. That's what I say,
Sure
right?
it does. We are the trailblazers of, the people now. Like I
So
see
the little
kids.
allergy kids and their
Yeah,
and their smelly foods and their bloody ketchup. Look at us now. We're doing a podcast.
God.
What
I love
about
it.
your senior? What about like your senior year? Like, did you ever look forward to like senior year? Because like in my high school, seniors were able to leave and go get their own lunch. So like that was the thing. Like everybody had their.
Oh my
you
gosh,
get your car,
dude! We used to go to this place.
go and just go.
So good.
You know.
Yeah, we used to go to this place that was, I guess it was like a deli or something, but like before a certain time, they would cook they cook breakfast food, and like I don't know how we weren't like asleep in class after this, but we would get chocolate chip pancakes with bacon.
Oh,
Ooh, yummy.
And then we'd go back to class and the other half the day. Like I just feel like that to me, like that just screams take a nap on the couch now. Go. You know?
That's nice. No, my building, we're allowed to leave the building, so we just wait till after school to do that stuff.
Okay.
Have breakfast after school.
I lived a very sheltered life as I'm like reflecting back on a lot of things. I'm like, wow, all right.
Well, as we're all reflecting back, and here we are with our blood sugar going up and down, and thinking about pancakes and missed tuna fish sandwich opportunities, it might be time for us to think about our current lives and our sadness of waking up tomorrow morning and getting that food prepared. So we are. Let's just zoom forward now to the modern times where we're not sad, because here we are making a better life and experience for our children.
Take me back.
I thought you were singing "Take Me Back to Paradise City." So now, man, this is so wild. All right, so check it out. So we've got, before, I thought we'd do something a little different for a second. Why don't we talk real quick about, because you know what, parents, it's not just about the kids. That's right. It's about us too. What do you guys bring for lunch in the midst of making your kids, getting your kids ready for all of their lunch? I feel like sometimes we as parents take a back seat to getting our own food prepared. For a little while, I was rocking some Target salad bags, and it got kind of hairy. It got kind of extreme because I was getting like a new salad every day. Only to look down at the servings. It was made for like 2.5 servings, and I was rocking the whole thing myself. Who would have thought they were so bad for you? But so I did that for a while, and I got kind of sick of that. And then lately, I have. I think I'm on like day number of like 80 of this or something, or 100. I don't know.
I wish you counted.
I have been having.
Yep.
It really has been a lot, right?
Yep.
This year.
Yep.
I almost feel like I'm at work with you right now. So we roll up to work, and then I like start to get my lunch. I'm like, oh, what do you have today? And I'm like, oh, funny you ask. I have a Dave's. What is it like? Like Dave's Crazy Bread Company, whatever it is. Like, you know, it's funny because like I thought the guy was like I thought it was like Grateful Dead kind of Dave.
No.
It turns out like it's like an ex-con kind of Dave. Very different. Anyway, so Dave's Crazy Bread Company, whatever. They're the big, you know, whatever. It's really good, kind of grainy bread, makes you feel good about life because it has seeds in it and stuff. Take the bread, get the natural peanut butter, just throw that bad boy on there. Get some Mike's Hot Honey, drizzle that on the whole thing. Then you take a banana, slice it in half, put like 4 slices of that, like kind of like cut it down the middle, then slice it the long way. And then I sprinkle a little bit of sea salt because you got a little salt, like, you know, it's kind of nice. Then you close it up, wrap that bad boy up, and then I got a couple fruit stuff on the side, a little pear, a little apple, and I have been reading the same thing this entire year. I don't know what happened.
I don't know how
it's been a bunch.
do that. I need variety. So every day for lunch, it's like I have like now they make fun of me because of my Mary Poppins bag. It's like this big bag, and God knows what I'm pulling out of it.
But I love your. No, but Sarah's got like, oh, listen up, D&D people. Sarah has like a bag of holding because she busts out her backpack, and whenever like Sarah's like, she's got her lunch, but she's like, you know, I kind of feel like, and then all of a sudden she goes in her bag and she's like, oh, there it is. And like, there's a bag of like Dove chocolate, or there's like, you know, throat lozenges, or there's like this or that. It's pretty incredible to watch, actually.
I'm ready for all situations. I got the,
I wish you were there, Mike.
I got the Tums. I got the Pepto-Bismol. I have allergy medicine in my bag. I usually have like a little thing of like a bag of chocolates. Cause like, you know, once in a while you want something sweet, and like, I would find myself eating in the office.
Medical requirement.
I think so. Like in the office though, I would find like someone would bring in like leftover cake and I was finding myself eating a lot of that. So if I had my own little chocolate that I really like, I felt like that staved away the wanting to eat like more food.
That's really smart, actually.
I tried, you know, it controlled. And then there's some days where I'm bad, where I just like I don't pack anything, and I'm just buying breakfast and lunch. And then there's other days that I bring leftover stuff, or I have that, if you guys remember, there's
no,
like
I know.
the
I was
heated,
going to say, when are you going to talk about
the heated lunchbox, which is my brand new friend. I'm actually getting a brand new one because the one that I got was on sale, and I guess it was she still really works well, but she
not too good of a sale,
but
maybe.
she's fallen apart a little bit. She lost a clasp, she lost a handle. I was like, what the heck?
She's been holding too much.
Oh, she's like us, turning 40.
Man, but I used her a lot. So now I got a new one. She's on the way, and I'm very excited to unveil her. But like something about like a nice warm lunch, I've never outgrown. Like I like eating something warm for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I'm very similar in that regard too. Like I have like a lot of leftovers from dinner. Like I'll bring leftovers from dinner. I'll bring like a sandwich now and then, but I switch it up. I don't know. I can't have.
Switch it up. Why is that?
Can't have a sandwich every day like that. I don't know.
No, but like you're
it is so funny.
It's smart though because you know exactly the like amount of like if you were really watching your calories or macros or something like that, you know exactly what you're eating every single day.
Yeah.
There's like a certain amount of discipline that goes there. I really admire it. Meanwhile, I'm like, tacos
so
one day, or like a sandwich another
I know.
day. You know, like mine's like all over the
because
place.
like for dinner, I because I do intermittent fasting. Keeps me good, keeps me whatever. And, I had like low blood sugar, but I feel like really more like kind of like even keeled since I've been doing this. But for me, like I need to have like a lot of protein, and then it keeps me kind of going during the day. But there's something about this. I can't understand. I can't explain it. But there's something about that sandwich. It's got the sweet. It's got the spicy. It's got the salty. It's got
all the taste buds.
It does feel. It sounds so ridiculous, but it does sound like it somehow feels like I'm doing something naughty, but I'm not. But it feels like I'm doing something naughty, and I don't know why. Because like the honey and the spiciness.
It's delicious. I made it for breakfast. Like that's like for me like a breakfast meal. So I made that a couple of times, but I used to make like waffle or something like that. That thing holds you over for a long time. And when you think about it, like if you go to like those protein or like a shake, like smoothie places or whatever,
like any of those types.
They have basically minus the bread. They have like that in a smoothie usually, like peanut butter. You got your protein. You got your banana for the flavor, the sweetness, maybe a little honey.
Right.
Like you're onto something there, Mr. Heit.
But there's something about like like those protein bars. Which I promise you, we're gonna talk about kids stuff in a second. But the protein bars, you know how like a lot of those have that like aftertaste, like that. I don't know how to describe it. There's something about this, but I guess because like most of the sugar is only coming from the honey, like it doesn't have all the weird like what I don't know. Trust me, I'm not like must be organically grown from a peanut in my backyard. This is like just straight up whatever. It's Target peanut butter. It's not a big deal. But anyway, good to hear. Because we also forget like sometimes it's about us as kids, sometimes about our kids. But do we talk about ourselves when we do? Sometimes we have to roll that into the conversation as well. But now that we're done with that, let's talk about the kiddies. So I want to take a special moment to first off thank my wife because she has set up a situation for lunches and snacks that if it was up to me, the entire family would be in destitute with signs asking for Sister Christian or whoever it was to get our kids tuna fish sandwiches because she has definitely gotten this whole situation set up. So in our house, she has like in her pantry, she set up like all these little like bins. And she has like all these bin stuff that makes it much easier for us to kind of like just like pick and grab the stuff that we need. So she has like, it sounds so basic, but when you think about it, like, it makes sense. But like when someone does it, it's really great. So she's got like the cookies in one, she's got the chips in another one, she's got like, the fruit snacks in another one, and she's got like, all the bags to one side. So anyway, so long story short, what happens is like on the weekends, the kids have the responsibility of like kind of getting their act together and getting their snacks packed for the week. So like I don't know if your kids have like the AM snack, the PM snack, all the nonsense, whatever. So they grab their little brown bags, they write their names on it, and they're responsible for putting all the snacks in there. They got their pouch, they got their their whatever there is, like the Belvita pouch in the bar and the little pouch. They make all their snacks, and then we have the kids make like a list. Because they just get irritated after a while. They're like, oh, why did you give me that on a Monday or Tuesday? I'm like, listen, this is what we're going to do. You're going to make up a little menu for me. And then you will tell me on which days you're getting what. And as long as we find that's okay and we have those things, that's what you will get. And I don't want to hear about it. So they gave me the list. So Mondays now is like goldfish. Tuesdays is pretzels. Wednesdays is like whatever, So like, we'll have like a... it's just some sort of like fruit snack, whatever it is. And then the kids have like, a little 2-pack of Oreo once a week. And then like, they'd like to roll the rest of the week out with like that Friday, the Friday potato chips of the little mini, what are those cans called? The cans of potato
Pringles.
chips, like the Pringles. They make the little pack of Pringles, right? So that's how they rock out the end of the week, right? But that's like, it's so easy to have that as like, when you say it out loud, it makes a lot of sense. But the fact that they have like the little menu set up.
I love it.
And then we have them figure out like, what are you eating this week for your lunches? So grab the school calendar, grab the snack, the lunch menu, pick your one lunch if you're having one. And then if not, let's write it all out. What are you having here? So then the kids decide like what they're going to have. We throw in the calendar. this way I can look in the morning and be like, okay, this day I'm not making this kid a lunch. And then, it's like, oh, we're having 2 yogurts. We're having 2 of these. And if the kids are having yogurt, they have to scoop it out. They put the cinnamon on, twist the cap, make their little yogurts. Unless they work the system and now they're like, oh no, I'll just take an orange yogurt. You just grab the.
See, that's so nice.
But it's funny because it helps so much to have that figured out.
I love it.
It's so nice. I've tried so hard to figure it out like that, but my kids are like, yeah, I'm not gonna follow the calendar. Like, we'll make a calendar, we'll set it up, we'll say, oh, these are your snacks, these are your lunches, we'll pick it up, and then like my kids are like the total opposite. They're like, they'll set the calendar, but they don't stick to the calendar. And then here's the.
Do they have to make it themselves?
We made it together. We made the calendar together, and we went over the foods.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, not the calendar part, the food part.
Okay, you're gonna have like a bologna sandwich on Monday or Tuesday or whatever, and we make the sandwich, and then they don't eat it, or they don't like it.
Oh, it comes home.
Yes,
it comes
home, right? And then here's the thing. I say, okay, you know what, guys? We're skipping the calendar. We're skipping the figuring out whatever. You could just order from hot food, right? The hot lunch. And the hot lunch things are things that we've given them. Like, and they're like, oh, the school lunch is so much better. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're giving you fresh food here that from our home. And like, you like the hot lunch better? I don't know. It's just
if you could like cook it and then make it cold again and then reheat it out a couple
times. Maybe they like it then.
Do
that.
It's just like I've found lunches being like the bane of my existence. Like, I hate figuring out food for my kids just because they're kids. They change their palate. They change like what they don't like. They get into a routine.
Oh man, they used to change their palate once they were turned 2. They were like, when they were babies, they were like, oh, my child eats risotto.
Let me tell you,
look at that.
There was this one time where Lucas and Ellie were both on like a bologna sandwich kick. Like, they wanted bologna or ham. Like, you switched it up like every other day. And then all of a sudden, they just don't like bologna and ham anymore. But yet I'm still buying it, and they're not telling me they're not eating it. And then it's coming home in their lunch stuff. I'm like, guys, what's going on? Oh, we've just been eating our snacks. Like,
wow.
So like, it's crazy.
The closest I ever got to bologna was mortadella, but like that was like.
I don't know how fancy you are. I love it. But then we have every morning we're sitting there cutting up. I feel like in the morning, another thing we do too is we have those like little like Ziploc. Are they called Ziploc? It must be Ziploc. The little round, like little mini containers with the blue lids.
Oh yeah.
We got the right. So I feel like it's like you sit there the night before, you get your fruit going, and I feel like for us it's like strawberries, grapes, blueberries, berries feels like a big thing. Sometimes you get this, and I feel like it's such a ripoff. But sometimes we'll buy like the pre-cut like watermelon or cantaloupe.
Yep, we do that.
And it's a little faster. Go chop, chuck in the bag. And then it's like, I got them ready. I'm just grabbing and assembling in the morning.
Yeah. For the most part now, I have Julian and Sophia, when she used to bring lunch, set up like their snacks. I would be like, set up your snacks. If they want a fruit, obviously I would like either at night or just remember to do it in the morning because I buy the cut up fruit, just save myself a little time. But Julia and Sophia, as much as I was like, oh my God, I want like white bread, because I never ate white bread either. I always ate like on multi-grain bread and stuff like that.
Right.
So I always wanted them to have like a sandwich because it's just so easy to like make, like slap some meat together, throw some bread.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But they always want like a thermos lunch. So like we always have leftovers they eat, or Sophia's really anti-sandwiches. Like Julian now, he'll eat like a sandwich. He'll eat some Lunchables. But Sophia, she wanted what we call now the Sophia Special, which basically was a turkey club sandwich.
The Sophia Special.
But the bread had to be toasted. The cheese had to be melted. The bacon had to be fresh.
Hold on a
so
second.
I was still like making something early in the morning with her.
Like oh
my God, she
right
told
now.
me
Come on.
that was the only way to make a sandwich. And that was still easier sometimes than like reheating, getting the thermos together. Because you like,
oh man.
So I never knew. Like my thermoses were always like, when I was younger, I felt like the food was never like hot. So I think like one time, I think I actually read the directions on the thermos bottle when I got for Sophia.
Right.
And it said to fill up the thermos.
Yes.
Then you pour that water out. Then you put the hot lunch, like really hot lunch in there. Then you close up really quick. And that's how you keep the food warm or lukewarm by the time, because like mine would be cold by the time like lunch came around. So I learned that trick. So that was like I don't know if anyone, like, for me, that was like brand new news. Like, I was like today years old when I found that out. Like, it was like one of those things. And then, like, Sonisha, when she was growing up, she just ate the school lunch. You know, like, we'd give her money. She ate the school lunch. She was easygoing that way. And then Sophia does what I used to do in high school too now. She doesn't eat the school lunch. She refuses. She's too cool to bring lunch from home. So she just starves, which is not good. She starves. She eats like French fries, she says, chips. And I think that's really it. So now, like, she's allowed to go off campus after school to go get lunch between practice and stuff like that. Or when she comes home, she's starving and needs something to eat.
God. She's not eating till like 3 o'clock.
She's not eating. Like, she drives. But I used to do that too. So, like, I get it because you look at the school lunch, you're like, whoa, that's kind of scary. So, and she doesn't.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't get it.
I
know.
My
brain tells me not to get
she doesn't
it,
like sandwiches. And she doesn't like bagels. Like, at least I ate a bagel. Like, she does not like carbs.
You kind of narrowed down by taking nothing. There's nothing on the list, but you took everything off the list.
You know what? It is. So I'm not starting my child or allowing my child to develop some sort of bad eating disorder. Is that in the morning she'll make like dumplings, like the Korean dumplings she'll make in the morning. She'll have like leftover dinner or something like that.
Oh, she's just
she's kind of doing like things in reverse. So like she's eating something like kind of heavy in the morning. So I guess that holds her over. But I always tell him, like, you got to eat something. Like, you're killing me here. Yeah, man. Let me tell you.
That's what's frustrating
because we get like it is because we got like the situation where I'm sure you guys probably have had this too, where sometimes, like, you know, my wife and I both work, so, you know, recently they've made some changes where certain businesses and stuff will allow their employees to work like at home for a couple days a week, and then they go into the city a couple days a week or whatever else. And so the days where my wife and I are both going to work in the morning, our youngest, we have to drop him off at daycare, and at like 7 a.m. we drop him off, and he has breakfast at daycare. So like we kind of feel bad because now he's rocking two meals at school. And like, you know, it stinks in some ways, but like, you know, you try to talk it up, like, oh, what do you bring for breakfast? But it's like, it's hectic. It's like, you know, all of a sudden he's tired, doesn't want to go to the house. So my wife's giving him, like, you know, but besides the breakfast, all of a sudden he's eating like a second breakfast of like dry cereal in a bag on the way out of the house. Suddenly he wanted to have like pancakes in the morning, but she did the same thing that you were talking about, because I have like, you know, I make myself iced tea in the morning. So I have the big mambo jumbo thing, whatever, and then I'll take it out, fill it with water, throw it in the microwave, and then when she's ready to you know, we do like the tag team situation. I leave, she's still getting, you know, the kids out of the house, and then she's gonna drop him off. She does the hot water and then the pancake situation and stuff. But it's like a whole process, but it does work. But I don't know, I've never seen it, like, I've never tried it to go like past breakfast, but I'm sure it lasts like a good chunk of the day if you like get it blazing hot and seal it up real fast.
That's the key, is blazing hot, I think. And I don't know, and then make me like, I guess like hence the electric lunchbox. You know, if the kids had that option, I think they probably would. Like, that's why I think like my kids are so cool. Like, I was like, oh my God, I don't want a hot lunch. I want a cold lunch. I want to be like, you know, ham and cheese and something like that. But like my kids, they want like. Like Julian the other day was like, oh Mom, he's like, can you get me, remember I brought like those tacos in with like the chimichurri and the corn? Yes, he was like, can you make me those for lunch? And I was like, it's kind of smelly, so I put like two.
Like, how am I gonna do that?
Well, I made it for him. I'm like, it's gonna be a little lukewarm. He's like, I don't care, it's delicious. I'm like, all right, cool. I put like 2 pieces of gum in his backpack and like his lunchbox for him.
Oh, that's so funny. You're like, just Julian, like a little note, Julian, make sure you chew 2 of these.
No, I tell him, I'm like, dude, because like I remember like how he like you, I don't know. Especially when you're eating like things, a lot of garlic.
It is really funny because like, yeah, all the rules kind of go out the window. Because like even in like New York or areas where like, you know, you have good bagels and things, like my kids will want like bagels at lunch, and like the bagels that you get like at a store, like they don't hold up. They get hard, whatever. So they sell like those packaged bagels. So like we're like almost like, you know, embarrassed to ourselves, but whatever. So we buy like Dave. Apparently this is like, you know, we buy a lot of Dave stuff, but with the Dave's bagels, they have a little more protein in them. So a couple times a week, my kids will bring those Dave bagels with like cream cheese or butter, whatever.
Julie prefers the Stop and Shop bagels over the Thomas's.
Okay.
So like, yeah.
Whatever,
no, but
right?
I'll try it with the more
protein.
protein. It's probably better. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
hold you over.
We feel like almost like. Yeah, because like, you know how it is. Like you're looking at their food. If they're bringing like a bagel and butter and then like chips, and you're like, are you gonna get protein or something
to really hold you over?
Because then you can't get the nuts, because there's like that whole thing, which I get totally. But another thing too is we have like what do you call sun butter and jelly? That's kind of become a big thing. or maybe that's not become. It's been a big. It's been a while, But some butter and jelly is like the alternative to peanut butter and jelly. That's not so bad, but it's a much more intense flavor. Like you can't put as much on. But
your school is
that's
way
something
stricter because we still bring peanut butter and jelly. They take, unfortunately, like a lot of the other schools, like
and they call it the peanut gallery.
They bring the children to the to that. I know it is terrible.
But
So like I don't know if that's better. I've never have to find an alternative for my kids' peanut butter.
Yeah, I guess they circumvent that in certain schools if they just make it like nut free in general.
I think that's good too. But
like there's also things that are on the packages where like it even said. I think like most schools are like, yes, if it's made in a plant that has nuts, then like we cancel everything you're gonna eat. But I guess if your child's such an extreme case or it's airborne, then it's much more dangerous, obviously. But, for the most part, I think that my kid's school is like, you can't, it's just nut free for the most part. But if it's packaged in a plant that maybe that has
that's
it,
really
then,
cool, though.
What about, totally random question. What do you guys do about, like we talked about like bringing food, we talked about buying food. Do you guys ever have the issue where like you're concerned that, like your kid is maybe like, having too much snack at school or
how
do you have that conversation and not make your kid actually feel like I don't want to give my child like an eating disorder, but like how do you have that conversation so you're like you have to show some degree of like balance here, like you're growing. I know, I get that my oldest guy is like practically the size of me now. It's insane. And he's in sixth grade. But like the thing is, and I'm not a short dude, man. I'm almost I'm 6'1". So the fact that my child is like up to my nose is a little freaky when he's like 11 years old. But, but like how do you have that conversation? Like I don't like when we're like we give him a certain amount of money, like he has it and he has like maybe a snack here, a snack there, and he's like, oh, I have tater tots, I have this. I'm like, and then the school balance is like very low, and like, well, you had a couple more snacks than we anticipated, But like, do you ever have the situation where you have to have the conversation about like, all right, listen, we gotta pump the brakes here a little bit. We gotta maybe only buy snacks occasionally. Like if we're giving you all this food, maybe you don't need it. Do you ever have you guys had these experiences?
I've had a discussion with my kids that because they love to snack. So, they'll eat anything, chips, cookies, snacks, because they'll never eat a main entree dish, like whether it's a sandwich or, spaghetti meatballs, something. So I just tell them that, we need to start getting more of our calories from our main meals rather than snacks. You guys eat a lot of snacks. I want you guys to just get more of your vitamins and your nutrients from your main meals. And then I start not
don't worry, Dad, we brought it home. I have it right here. It's in a package still.
Yeah, well then attack that issue, I only load like their card with like $1 or something where they can only spend like enough for one snack.
Oh, did they get like your credit cards bounced? Like they get the thing and like, oh, sorry, this is
you have
a negative balance here.
Yeah, and then we could and then they they scan whatever they buy. They scan whatever they buy, so we're like tracking what they're eating. So it's kind of cool that way. But we've had that discussion before because, my kids, they'll just eat all their calories and snacks, and it's very frustrating.
Well, we've tried to like put, like, I know this is just a silly thing. Like, it sounds like so like granola bar, but we've tried like to do this thing where, like my older guy, like he's huge. I mean, he's tall, it's huge. Not he's not like overweight, but he's a tall kid. And he was like, just the food's just not enough for him. Like he needs more. So we try to circumvent that. We're like, what do you want? Like what do you want us to pick out the grocery store? So we kind of want like corn muffins to go on the sides. We're like, fine, cool, whatever. So we'll buy corn muffins. My wife even found these like it sounds so terrible. These veggie made great muffins. They're like basically muffins that have like vegetables hidden in them. It's not like you're gonna bite and all of a sudden you pull out like a whole corn out of your mouth. But the it's like it's just mixed in whatever else. But and those are like a little bit more substantial. But like I get it, like you want to have snacks and stuff, but like just trying to like fill them up to the point where it's like, okay, we feed the beast. Now we're good. But yeah, man, it's hard because like you try not to like you don't want to shame them, you know what I mean?
No,
but you're also like, look, we get it. Like snacks are tasty. But the thing is like I don't know about you guys, but your kids are going to school, they're having a snack, and then they come home and want a snack again. You're like, dude, you kind of you're gonna have this snack twice here. We get it, but have some fruit.
Yeah, no, I found that with Julian. Like he actually a couple times scolded me. He was like, "Mom, you're packing me too much snack," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, because
it's mom's fault.
I know because like during the AM, they don't like request it being in a separate lunch bag as before. His old school, they did want like a brown bag for AM, and then like
so it's on the kid to like go in and take out what they need and then put it back, whatever.
So I would pack him like a snack for like a.m. snack, and then he in 5th grade he's still having a snack. Like the teacher's really nice, and then he'll have the p.m. like his lunch with his snack for lunch, and so I was like, okay, so I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm like, so what do you want like out of it? So I take out like. There was something I was like, giving him, like a Nutrigrain bar or
Take
something
that sandwich
like that.
out of there, please.
I know. And then, but the thing for me really is the sharing of snacks, because Julian will eat whatever.
That gets hard.
Like, yeah. So like, there are times that Julian brings home like a Ziploc bag of like, I guess, chips, and he's like, "Oh, I traded my thing with someone else's thing," and I'm like, Julian, I like
the infamous trade.
I know, and maybe it's
grew up with that.
it's really no,
Yep.
but it's the right. So to me, that's a foreign idea, trading snacks. And then another thing is like in my head, I'm like, Julian, do you not know? Like, so I'm like, look, I'm like, that peanut butter jar in our house is not safe for other people to eat from. I'm like, it's the same thing with like the Chex Mix or like whatever else you're getting from like someone else's house. Like grandpa ate from it, daddy ate from that. You know, they're putting their hands in the pit, the snack. I'm like, Julian, you know how many germs that might be on that? Like, I'm like, oh my God, it kills me. It hurts my soul.
Oh,
and just to add to that real quick, there is rules to trading. So like when you saw a Ziploc bag
like
and
Pokemon?
there was like moisture inside, you were like, I'm not buying that. I'm not trading you that, but I'll trade you this, package of Gushers or Dunkaroos.
Wow.
Or something,
I keep trying to teach Julian that's I don't know the rules, but I keep trying to tell him. I'm like, anything like you need to have like a prepackaged snack, trade with a prepackaged snack. Don't trade from like someone. I'm like, and no offense to like his friends. Or I'm sure their houses are clean, and when they go over there, God knows what they're eating.
Yeah, of course.
But I just mentally, it burns my soul, and it makes me like slightly want to gag when I see that. I'm like, bleh. Anyways.
So I love it. So this week, just real fast, we have an article. I'm just going to link in the show notes because we're kind of going all over it right now. But it's really just about different snacks you could have with your kid when they get home. Some things that are maybe high in protein, make your own trailer mix, kind of like picking from a list and throwing different things in the bag. You could even have like one of my favorites. Apparently, this is brought to you in part by peanut butter. Is having a sliced apple with peanut butter on top. That's kind of nice. And there's a lot of other choices in there, but we're going to link that in the show notes for you fine listeners. But the question this week is, how often do you let your kids buy lunch, buy snack at school? What are the rules in your house? Because we're curious, because if, besides growing up in a family where your snacks were stinky or your food was something that wasn't desired, only Mike Levine could trade his food. What are the rules in your house when it comes to buying lunch or buying snack? We'd love to hear from you. We have different rules in our house, different rules in your house. We love to hear. Maybe we'll feel better when we hear from you. One, you can leave us a message in our Hey Other Parents voicemail line at 559-LAY-KIDS or 559-537-5437. 2, you can email the show at heyotherparents@gmail.com. Or 3, join us on Instagram or Blue Sky with the same username at Hey Other Parents. So we are back for Time to Unplugged. Don't you forget that you will be a better we if you take care of me. So, Mike Levine, it is time to bust out your katana blades. It is time to once again go somewhere between the Wild West and the samurai. What do you have there, buddy?
So there's this new show on FX called Shogun, and I just recently checked it out, and it takes place in like Japan in like the year of 1600s, and like this kind of ship comes from Europe, and they land in Japan, and they're looking to trade, and it's really cool because it starts talking about like how this civil war kind of like broke out in Japan, and they're trying to find like a leader in Japan. And it's got one of my favorite actors in it, Hiroyuki Sanada, I believe his name is, and he was in The Last Samurai.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and you know what I really like about this is it's Star Wars is kind of based off of samurais, So
I mean, it all comes together, right?
The Jedi Knights, yes, it all comes together. So it's a really cool show. I really enjoy it. It's I think only 2 or 3 episodes have come out so far. So, and they've both been awesome, but it's a little adult-rated. So I would say there are some risque scenes. So do not be watching it in front of your children.
That's good to know. And what does he say? It was on FX? Is that right?
Yeah, it's on FX on Hulu. Well, it's on Hulu, and then and then FX is part of Hulu. So it's you should definitely check it out. I love it.
Nice. All right, something different to watch. We are we're still making our way through Avatar: The Last Airbender, so we're gonna definitely come together on that
good show,
soon-ish. Sarah D, what do you got tonight?
So I gotta watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. But one day, it is a remake apparently of a movie. I didn't know that, with Anne Hathaway. This is a remake now with new actors and actresses. And holy smokes, get your tissues out.
Oh yeah.
Get ready for the feels.
Oh no.
It is
Oh, no.
it's like The Notebook, but like on steroids 2.0.
Really?
There's a love
One day.
One day on Netflix. It's a love story, friendship, just love in general, like, you know, like friendship love and like love. Like it was amazing. Gene a couple of times was like, why am I watching this show with you? And I'm like, because you're watching
it
it
one of
with
those
me.
like where you sat down to watch it and he happened to be next to you and then he was all in, or was it like you both planned on watching it?
It was a recommendation from a
Oh, it was,
coworker,
okay.
and I was like, "Oh, so and so recommended this. Let's watch it." And he was like, all right, cool." And like towards the end, he was like, he's like, he's like, "I'm just gonna play some video games right now." He's like, and like,
Gonna go watch some football.
right, exactly. He's like, for a whole week, he was like, I don't know why you made me watch that. I don't know why you made me watch it. But he loved it. Like the storyline was amazing. Like it really is. It's a tearjerker, friends. It's amazing.
Oh, no.
Well done. I'm curious to watch the movie, but I saw the trailer and I have to say, I think the Netflix did a good job doing it justice, maybe even better. But I have to give you a full review when I watch the movie. With
All
Anne
right, I'll have to check it out. But
Yeah.
it is a movie. It's a movie, right?
It's a show. So there's,
it's a
I
show.
think,
I'm sorry.
9 episodes. or
Okay.
whatever. It's really,
Okay.
really good. I recommend. Tearjerker. Get ready for the feels, the snuggles, and all that
I
kind
bet
of stuff.
you like. I feel like you and my wife are like so like sort of like on this weird like parallel.
I was like,
just,
Rachel's gonna really like this.
I don't know.
I'm telling
I
you.
think I'm gonna go upstairs and it's gonna be on TV, right?
Right? Yes. Rachel's probably like, watch it, saw it, cried.
Well,
I
speaking
cry at
of
everything now. I
Me
think it's
too.
just part of being a parent.
I think it is really, honestly, like nowadays, like the freaking every commercial makes me cry. Everything makes me cry. So it's easy.
like the Michelin commercials. I'm like, oh,
No, but this is
speaking of crying.
this is ugly crying. Let me tell you.
oh really? Oh,
Yes, it
I'm
is.
all
It
about
was.
that. It was funny because like my wife is like she loves that kind of stuff, but like for whatever reason, certain commercials will like give me like the teary eyes. I don't know what it is, or certain commercials, and my wife will look at me. She's like, "Are you crying right now?" And I'm like, "Wait to shame me, my God."
Like, no, maybe.
You're crying too.
I know. I'm not crying. You're crying. Stupid.
Did you see they spilled water on the
Speaking of,
computer? Oh.
Seriously, don't you have a heart? But speaking of crying, Tears of the Kingdom is the new Zelda game.
Oh, look at that.
That was a segue. I'm very
That
proud of
was. That was
So I
good.
destroyed it by saying it's a segue.
That was good.
So Tears of the Kingdom, it's a Zelda game. It's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. And you say, why are you bringing this up? This came out in June. Well, I will tell you, this is what happens. I buy a game, I get very excited, and I don't play it. And then I come play it 6 months later. So my oldest and my middle guy will like, they kind of like go through all these like wacky YouTube videos, and then all of a sudden they get into things. Ethan, who's my middle guy, he's been into the Zelda stuff lately. So he's been playing like old Zelda games. He wants to see them all. He'll get like through 90% of a game, and then all of a sudden the last like 10% be like, nah, I'm gonna pause on this, go to a different one. I'm like, just finish the game. And then Jacob was like the Super Mario Odyssey kick for a long time, and now he's like speed running or playing through some Zelda stuff. So I'm like, I am going to play Tears of the Kingdom. I have this. It's sitting there. It's staring at me. I want to play this. Let me tell you something. If you like Zelda or you like the last game, it is so freaking cool. It is like beyond a shadow of a doubt some of the best open world Zelda feeling games. But if you play the first one, the big thing in the first one was you had this like this must have been like in conjunction with selling the Nintendo Switch, because Link had like basically a Nintendo Switch on his belt, and then all the powers and things were in this what's called the Sheikah Slate, but it's basically a Switch. And in this little device, it had like all these powers he had that made the game very open world and kind of cool, and you could kind of like solve it if you knew how to use like these different powers. In this game, instead of it like being like figure out whatever the clues are to use the right thing in the right circumstance, this game just blows it all up. They're like, you know what? Here's the powers. You're going to get them all in the first 20 minutes. And now you could use them however you think you need to use them to solve your way through this game. And it is such a cool experience. And however they figured it out, whether like, it's the feeling of like the physics in the game and just knowing that whatever wacky thing you put together will actually be the thing that on the screen that will happen feels like it makes sense. It's not like you build something and also like flies off the screen like something that isn't expected. Everything feels right. It's a really cool game. Yes, it's not, it's still like, oh, the princess is missing. Ganon's probably the one that did it. Yes, we know that. It's fine. Like Bowser does it with Mario all the time and the princess. But this is really, really cool. I'm digging it. I'm loving it. Ethan and I are jamming out. We're playing this game pretty much a lot together, and he's kind of like my official, he's got the books out, the maps, like go here, go there, do this thing. So it's definitely like a fun, a fun like adult kid experience to kind of have that like group effort. But I love this game. I think it's really cool. I cannot wait to continue on with this, and I'll probably be playing this for the next 3 months. But for now, I will say Nintendo Switch is awesome. I'm loving it. And until that Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, which is probably coming out next March, who knows what they're doing between now and then, this has got my attention for now. So whether you're rocking the Triforce, a TV show that makes you cry, or samurai swords at your feet, we have it here on Time to Unplugged. But I think we are out of time on this episode of School Lunches, Lunch Calendar Roulette, whatever you want to call it. We've had experiences talking about our past in bringing lunches and snacks, leaving our lunches at home, having nuns bringing us our tuna fish sandwiches, and hiding the truth. We have allergies to wheat and rice cracker, peanut butter and jellies. We have it all. And what didn't kill us made us a lot stronger, because here we are today to sit in the couch and talk about our feelings. And we've survived. We've gotten through. And now our own children are rejecting our sandwiches and our lunches because apparently it all goes in phases and shifts, and maybe someday their kids will reject their sandwiches too. But we have had fun chatting about it. And of course, if you have any insight, we'd love to hear from you. But let's take a special moment to thank our listeners and supporters for donating to the show. If you want to help support the show so we can keep on making shows just like this one, we have a link to donate in the show notes. If you do not have the means to do so, we totally understand, but we hope you can tell your friends or family about this podcast so we can reach more parents just like you. And if you really feel inspired, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We can't wait to explore this parenting thing again next week with you on Hey the Parents, because it's the three of us and all of you. Don't forget to hug your kids and charge your Chromebooks. That's going to do it for me. For Mike and for Sarah, we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey the Parents is produced by Mike Levine, Sarah Desirines, and me, Michael Heit. I edit and mix our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we hope you consider going to our show notes and help support the podcast. Find us online at Instagram, Blue Sky at Hey the Parents, or send us an email at heytheparents@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.